It is not you versus the brain. The brain is not self-sabotaging, and you are not self-sabotaging. We need to address the nervous system because if you don't have the capacity in your nervous system to help the brain move into this period of discomfort, there is no way that you're going to be able to move through sustainable change. What this looks like in practice is you tending to the nervous system first before you start adding in intensive protocols and goals and daily routine checklists. You are just finding safety in your body. That is how we create capacity for the changes that you say you want, but you're not doing yet. Hey, Mama, welcome back to the Thrive Mama podcast. I'm Martina, certified nutrition consultant and holistic health coach, and a mama of two, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to help busy moms unlock their energy, balance their hormones, and break out of burnout using nutrition as a foundation, all designed to help you move past surviving into actually thriving in motherhood. Let's do this. All right, Mama, before we jump in, I want to tell you about a free masterclass that I am teaching on January 23rd. This masterclass is all about how to break up with mom burnout. So we're going to explore the 5 most common overlooked causes of your burnout, and then we will learn how to transform our energy using food as the foundation. It's going to be really powerful. It's going to be really juicy conversation, and I would love for you to join us. So if you are catching this episode before January 23rd, check out the link in the show notes. Make sure you save your seat, get your link to join us, and I will see you there. So the number one challenge that I hear from moms that I work with is not that they don't know what to do. It's actually that they know a lot of things to do. They're just not doing it. And I bet you this applies to you in some way. I bet you have set goals, learned strategies, read books, followed accounts, collected information on how you could be healthier and happier. And I bet right now you could name like 10 things right off the bat that you know would improve your health and your happiness. So then the question is, if we know these things, why the heck aren't we doing it? Like, there is no surprise that we would all feel better if we were well hydrated, if we drank enough water. We all know that movement improves our mental and physical health. We all know that time outside is good for us. We all know that things like tons of coffee, tons of alcohol, sugary foods are not helping our health and happiness. So if we know these things, why aren't they reflected in our daily life? That's what we're going to be exploring today. And I'm going to be really diving into this idea of willpower because that's one of the number one responses that I get when we start diving into this conversation. I just have no willpower. Like, I know what to do and I do it for a while, but then I just lose motivation. I can't keep up with it. I just don't have willpower. And I'm here to tell you, willpower is not the problem. In fact, I'm going to make a case for why I think willpower itself is kind of just a lie and is not a helpful concept. So when I'm talking about this with clients, what I often hear back from moms is, I just self-sabotage myself. Maybe that's you. Maybe you relate to that. I just, want these things, but then I self-sabotage and I manufacture situations where I'm set up to fail. And then I work against myself and then I just give up. So there's this whole bucket of self-sabotage. There's this whole bucket of willpower and motivation. And then for some of us, one of the barriers feels like, I just have no support. Like, I can't make all these changes by myself when I'm the only one in my house doing it. Everyone around me is doing something else, and I have no support, and I just can't do it on my own. And that also comes down to I don't have the motivation to do it on my own, and I don't have the willpower to do it on my own. So that's a lot of what I hear from people. That's what we experience. And that experience is super valid and true. I'm not here to tell you that your experience is not real. What I am here to tell you is that the way that experience is presenting is not the whole story, because your motivation, your willpower, your self-sabotage, that is not the core of what's going on. The core of why we are not embodying the habits that we say we want is actually in the nervous system. So, today I want to explore with you how the brain is working with us and sometimes working against us when we're trying to build healthy habits, and why willpower itself is really a lie, and what we can use instead to keep us energized and focused and intentional with our goals in a way that doesn't feel restrictive or full of shame and guilt, but actually feels fluid and supportive for our life itself. And the answer to all of those things lies in the nervous system. So let's start with the brain. The brain itself is an incredible part of your team. It is not working against you. It is not sabotaging the things you in your soul really want. That is not what the brain is doing. What the brain is doing is trying to keep you alive. The brain is wired for survival, point blank. It is here to keep us alive. And it's very good at that job. It is very good at assessing risk. It is very good at keeping us in a zone of familiarity and safety so that we do not experience unknown dangers. And it's very, very good at using past experiences to wire our perception of the present and the future. So I want you to sit with that for just a sec. The brain uses everything we've experienced and learned and seen in the past to project that onto our future and our present. And you might hear that and say, like, duh, how else do you inform your present and your future other than from your past? But I want to invite you into maybe a new perspective around this, which is the future itself is unwritten. The future gets to be completely different from our past. We get to decide to change anytime we want. And that might feel completely out of reach to some of us if we've never experienced that. But things can really change in an instant. Maybe you've even experienced that level of change in a way that is more challenging, right? Like there was some sort of crisis or challenge or unknown obstacle that came up. 1 hour, you were living one life, and then the next hour, your life was totally different. So maybe we've experienced that in a negative connotation, but the same can happen with positive changes. We get to decide that our future is different anytime we want it to. So, the brain being completely entrenched in our past experiences as a way to inform our present and future is actually holding back our growth. Because here's the thing, the brain is here for survival, which means we're avoiding risk. And you know what's really risky? Growth, change, the unknown, wanting, oh my gosh, having desires, having like dreams and hopes, those things that just make your heart ache because you want it so bad, that is so risky. You are opening yourself up in such a vulnerable way when we have desires and when we have dreams and goals, which is why a lot of people in the world just don't. We've all probably met people or know people who really don't dream, who don't have big goals, who just let good enough be good enough because they're protecting themselves from getting their hopes up and being vulnerable because their brain is wiring them to stay in the safety zone. And my guess is that if you are listening to this podcast, there is a part of you that is aching for growth and change and health and happiness. You're not letting good enough be good enough, because if you were, you would not be seeking out podcasts on how to thrive in motherhood. But the brain is really focused on that survival piece, which is not growth and desires and goals. So just know when the brain gets really loud about all the reasons that your changes can't happen and all the barriers in your way and all the ways you failed in the past, so it's not going to work again because this is the kind of person you are. When that kind of narrative comes up, you now get to flag that as, brain, thank you. Thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for trying to keep me safe right now. I don't need that safety right now. We're good. We're good to try. It is safe to try. Your brain doesn't know the difference between walking into a dark cave where there might be predators and going to the gym in your workout clothes and thinking people are judging your body. To the brain, both of those things are a life-threatening situation. So you get to tell and respond to the brain, we're good here. I know this feels scary. We're going to be okay. We're not in danger. We're not in danger. There is no threat to our safety here. So that's the first thing I think is really important to understand. It is not you versus the brain. The brain is not self sabotaging, and you are not self sabotaging. The answer is not to be like stricter with the brain or more forceful. The answer is not pushing and forcing through. That might work for a very short period of time, but that sort of pushing through is extremely expensive to the brain itself. We need the brain on board to make these habit changes. And so when we're trying to push and force without addressing the underlying need for safety, all we're doing is trying to force the brain into the terrifying dark cave without addressing its fears. We're just pushing ahead. And that might work for a while, but that is expensive on the body and on the brain. It takes a lot of energy. It takes so much focus and intention that we can't keep that up long term. The solution then is to address the need for safety. So this would be like instead of pushing ahead into the dark, terrifying cave, we are making a huge light illuminate the cave to show the brain, look, we're safe, and to help the nervous system regulate through the experience. So when we're making changes, rather than pushing, forcing, using punishment, using rewards, using guilt, using shame, we need to address the nervous system. And anytime we're trying to make a change and it's not working, like every night before we go to bed, we're like, tomorrow's the day. I'm going to get up and go for a run. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I really want to do it. And then we don't do it. That's not any reflection of who we are as a person or how capable we are as a person. All that is a big red flag that your nervous system needs support. Because if you don't have the capacity in your nervous system to help the brain move into this period of discomfort, there is no way that you're going to be able to move through sustainable change. It's like these changes that the brain's trying to make is so expensive, but your bank account is in overdraft. You have nothing left to invest into the change. So the answer is not just to keep taking out more debt and try to push your way through. The answer is to pour into your bank account so that you have the investment to pour into the change, to pour into what the brain needs to support what you're trying to do as you move past the zone of familiarity. And right now, I want you to think of a few things that you would love to weave into your daily routines in life that you're just not doing right now. Maybe you want a morning routine that's a little bit more peaceful and slow and time alone. Maybe you want daily movement. Maybe you want to be cooking dinner at home more instead of going out. Maybe you want to remember to take your pills. Like this could be anything that you know makes you healthier or happier, but you're not doing it right now. And then once you have a couple of things in your brain, I want you to just picture the most hectic day ever. The day where the kids wake up late, everyone's cranky, someone wet the bed, you're changing sheets, you're trying to get breakfast made, the car won't start, everyone's late to school and to work. Like it's just one thing after another. How easy does it feel to make the change that you just brought to mind? How easy is it to cook dinner at home after a day like that? How easy is it to, wake up early the next morning and have an early morning routine? It's not. It feels freaking impossible to do that. But now picture a day with tons of space. Tons of space. The kids are calm and independent in the morning. No one needs you. You just have space. Everything's smooth. Your calendar's open. Everything goes well, and you feel really calm. How easy does it feel now to cook dinner at the end of the day or to wake up early and go for a run the next morning? The key is not forcing or pushing ourselves to do things that just feel impossible. The key is creating that sense of safety in the body. And I know that those calm, spacious days are not most of our realities, but Here's the big secret. You get to feel calm and spacious on the inside, even if things on the outside are chaotic. And I'm going to say that again because this is key. Your external environment does not dictate how you feel on the inside. It just doesn't. You get to set your nervous system set point. We've probably all known people who, even in a chaotic, loud, stressful environment, are really calm. And we also probably know people who the slightest little thing that you don't think is that big a deal happens and they just are like completely dysregulated, right? Our regulation on the inside gets to be separate from our actual external reality. And in fact, our internal nervous system can ripple out into what our external reality looks like. So, what this looks like in practice is you tending to the nervous system first before you start adding in intensive protocols and goals and daily routine checklists. You are just finding safety in your body. And for some people, this work takes years to do. And for other people, just bringing awareness and shining a light on it allows us to make really significant changes really fast. But when we start looking, most of us realize that we have been in fight or flight for a lot of our lives. And that is what the nervous system is used to. And it takes some intentionality to shift back into a place of safety so that we have capacity to hold the daily goals that we really want to be prioritizing. So I'm going to share a few ways to pour into your nervous system bank account so that you have something to invest in the changes that you want to make. And then before we close out this episode, I also want to share with you some powerful language shifts that I want you to start making around your changes and your goals that are going to make a huge difference in how you approach them. So starting with some nervous system strategies. I teach a lot about this in my online coaching program, Thrive Mama. I teach a lot about this even over on Instagram and free content. And this podcast is going to continue to build on these strategies for nervous system support. But a few things that are really foundational and really important. Number one, I would encourage you to go back and listen to episode 3 of this podcast if you haven't yet. Episode 3 really talks about what's going on with our food that's impacting our nervous system. So episode 3 dives into things like your blood sugar balance and your hormonal support through your food that can really impact how our nervous system functions. Because if we are not eating enough food, if we have completely dysregulated blood sugar, we're going to feel activated and anxious on the inside, even if things on the outside are fine and chill and dandy. So go back to episode 3 to really explore the food foundations of the nervous system. But in this episode, I just want to give you a few other strategies that are more lifestyle specific. And I'm not going to go super deep into these strategies today. There will be more episodes on probably all of these things. And these are all things that I teach about in a lot more detail in the Thrive Mama program. But some things I really want you to be aware of that are impacting your nervous system. So number 1 is also the most important. So if you only do one thing from this list, do this. It is finding times for meditation and breathing breaks. Being in stillness and connecting with your breath it's the single most powerful way to reset your nervous system set point. And I'm going to share in the show notes below this video a free guided meditation for moms that you can use as an entry point if you want to have someone guiding you through this stillness. But even just 5 to 10 minutes a day is really powerful. And if you immediately go, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time for breath work things, I want you to pause. I want you to go into your phone and look at your phone usage. And I want you to look at how many minutes on Instagram or Facebook you spend every day. And then I really want you to ask yourself if you can't take 10 of those minutes to meditate instead, and what a difference that could make in your nervous system. It's not that we don't have the time, it's that we need to reallocate where we are spending it. So that's number 1, is getting connected to your breath, finding ways to be still and just listen in your body. Hey there, mama. Quick question. Are you feeling drained, overwhelmed, or just ready for more actionable strategies for nourishing yourself in motherhood? Well, I've got a special gift for you. I am opening the waitlist for my Thrive Mama group coaching program. And when you join the priority waitlist, I am gifting you 5 free lessons straight from inside the program itself, delivered right to your inbox. So these 5 lessons are packed with simple, actionable strategies to help you transform the way that you think about energy and stress and focus on the highest impact areas to start unlocking more energy, balancing your blood sugar, balancing your hormones, and healing your nervous system. And there are free lessons in here on exactly how energy and stress are connected, how food plays a role into all of this, how to know if you're actually eating enough food, which, hint, hint, you're probably not, and how to snack in a way that actually supports your energy instead of draining you more. And the best part is you will also get early access to Thrive Mama when the doors open, and there'll be a special waitlist discount for you. Plus, you get a sneak peek into the transformation and the resources that would be waiting for you inside of Thrive Mama. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link below the show notes, join the priority waitlist, and start your thriving era today. Some other ways that you can start adding to your nervous system bank so that you can invest in healthy changes. Be aware of your multitasking. This is a big one, but multitasking is very expensive for the brain and the body, and moms tend to do it all the freaking time. So just be aware of how often your phone is out while you're doing other things, how often you're listening to podcasts or audiobooks while you're doing other things, how often you're trying to solve a problem with your kids while you're also doing this other thing. Just be aware and see where you can simplify tasks and stay focused on one thing at a time. That also brings me to the point about phone use in general. Our brain is going to start seeking the dopamine hit from constant stimulation, especially if that's our sphere of safety. If that's our sphere of familiarity, we've been in fight, flight, and running on adrenaline our entire lives. We're going to be seeking that out constantly, which means going to the bathroom without your phone causes a nervous system response. We feel restless and agitated because we need that stimulation. So it's going to take some time to reset and re-regulate after that, but it's really powerful to just start setting boundaries around your phone use so that your body and brain can process and be in the moment. That is how we create capacity for the changes that you say you want, but you're not doing yet. Some other things you can add into your day. Sunshine and time outside are super powerful. Movement, of course, exercise, yoga, walks. Cold showers are incredible for the nervous system. So starting or ending your day with as cold a shower as you can stand for as long as you can stand it, even if it's 20 seconds, actually does release dopamine in the body and help to re-regulate the nervous system. And then lastly, I really do find that journaling is a really powerful practice for us to witness the thoughts that we're having and be able to make some sense of them and respond to them more. So especially if you feel like you fall into that self-sabotage camp, or I just, want the things and then always work against myself. And why is my brain working against me? If that's you, pick up a journal as often as you can. Just write out what you're thinking and feeling, and seeing it outside of yourself can really bring new clarity. I even encourage people to have conversations back and forth. So you can say, "Dear brain, what's coming up for you?" And you can respond in a loving way without getting completely hijacked by the limiting, zone of safety tendencies that the brain can call us into. Okay, so we have talked about the brain wiring and why it is making it so hard for you to add these healthy changes into your life. And we've also talked about a few ways to start adding into your nervous system bank account so you can afford the changes that you're trying to make and get your brain on board. Now, before we close out this episode, I really want to explore with you the language of willpower itself. And this is going to be a really powerful mindset shift for some of you that's going to really change the energy of how you take care of yourself and how you approach your healthy habits. Willpower as a word has really forceful, assertive, kind of unrelenting energy. It's very like masculine driven. And those are things that our society does tend to really value. We push ahead no matter what. We don't budge an inch. We're seen as like weak or incapable if we give in any way. So that's really wrapped up in the word willpower. And I really don't find those kinds of energies helpful when it comes to building sustainable wellness. So I want to invite you into any word that really feels empowering for you, but a couple that you can play with are dedicated and devoted. Like instead of saying I need more willpower, what if we started saying I need more dedication to myself? I need more devotion to myself. How would your healthy lifestyle feel different if you were devoted to it instead of just trying to force yourself to be consistent and have willpower all the time? Like, what if we had dedication instead of willpower? Because when I think about those words, I think about being devoted to things that we love, things that are really sacred to us, which in this case is our bodies, is our health and our vitality. And when we think of dedication, we're really dedicated to the things we value. We're dedicated to the things that are most important to us. And that doesn't require pushing or forcing. And it has tons of space for all the ebbs and flows of your life. Like we get to show up in different ways for the things we're devoted to because we love them and we want to show up for them. But that showing up doesn't have to look the exact same way every day. And that's really important for us as moms in the season of our life. And it's really important for us as women who are cyclical beings internally to have some flexibility and fluidity in the way we approach our wellness. So the next time you're feeling hard on yourself or you're feeling like your willpower is cracking, your motivation is drained, I really want to invite you to come back into a place of devotion and dedication instead of forcing yourself with willpower to like eat a salad when you really don't want a salad. What would it look like if you made a choice from a place of devotion to your body? What would that look like? Would that change how you feel about the salad? Would you make a different choice that's still honoring your needs, but also honors your desires? I don't know. It's different for everyone. But what would it look like if you made choices from a place of devotion instead of forcing and guilt and rules around it? Because if you love something and you value it, you actually want to nourish it from a place of devotion, not a place of restriction or force or guilt. Which is why at the end of the day, my work in the world is much less about habit building and consistency. And it's so much more about helping you heal your relationship with your self-worth and with your body. Because once you fully love yourself, your devotion and your dedication to yourself will build you a life that actually supports your goals and dreams and help you be the happiest, healthiest version of you, both for yourself and for your loved ones around you. So that's it for today, Mama. I would love to hear from you as you move forward, how you start incorporating building up a reserve in your nervous system and adding to your nervous system bank so that you can hold space for all the healthy habits that are on your radar. And as you start being curious about your language, how words like devotion and dedication change the way you approach your wellness. I hope to see all of you at the free masterclass on January 23rd. The link is in the show note to join us. And until then, take beautiful care of yourself.